What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another international deep dive that's going to absolutely blow your mind. Today, we're diving into something that every traveler has experienced, but nobody wants to talk about openly. I recently had a friend tell me about his nightmare experiences traveling through Europe, and it got me thinking. So I decided to conduct a massive survey across my community to find out which countries tourists find the most challenging when it comes to local hospitality. The results? Let's just say some of these are going to shock you, and others might make you rethink your next vacation destination. Before we jump into this controversial countdown, let me be crystal clear about something. We're not here to bash entire nations or perpetuate harmful stereotypes. Every country has incredible, welcoming people alongside those who might come across as less friendly. Cultural differences, language barriers, and tourist fatigue all play major roles in these perceptions. What we're looking at today is purely based on tourist experiences and survey data, not absolute truths about entire populations. Starting our countdown at number 10, we have Greece. Now this one surprised me because Greece offers some of the most stunning ancient ruins, breathtaking islands, and incredible beaches you'll find anywhere in the Mediterranean. The tourism industry is absolutely massive there, and you'd think locals would be rolling out the red carpet for visitors. However, 37% of survey respondents reported challenging experiences with local attitudes. The issue seems to stem from cultural communication styles. Greeks tend to be very direct and animated in their conversations, which can come across as aggressive or rude to visitors from more reserved cultures, particularly those from Northern Europe or certain parts of North America. Number 9 brings us to Turkey, and this is where things get really interesting. Turkey has this incredible rich history spanning almost 16 centuries, with Istanbul being this amazing crossroads between Europe and Asia. You've got phenomenal historical sites, incredible cuisine, and some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world. But 41% of respondents had Turkey in their top 3 for challenging local interactions. Part of this might be due to the intense tourism pressure in major cities like Istanbul, where locals deal with massive crowds of visitors year-round. When you're constantly surrounded by tourists, it's understandable that patience might wear thin. At number 8, we find Italy, and honestly, this one breaks my heart a little bit. I mean, we're talking about the country that gave us pasta, pizza, incredible art, and some of the most romantic cities on earth. Rome, Milan, Venice, Florence. These are bucket list destinations for millions of people worldwide. Yet 41% of survey participants reported less than friendly encounters with locals. Some travel experts suggest this might be related to over-tourism in popular destinations, where locals feel overwhelmed by the constant influx of visitors, disrupting their daily lives. Number 7 is Spain, and this one genuinely caught me off guard. From my personal experiences and interactions with Spanish people, they've always seemed warm and welcoming. However, 45% of survey respondents had different experiences. Interestingly, some travel bloggers have noted a generational divide here. Younger Spanish people, particularly those in their 20s and 30s, sometimes seem less enthusiastic about tourism, while older generations tend to be more welcoming to visitors. This could be related to economic factors and how tourism has changed local communities over the years. Coming in at number 6 is China, and I'll be honest, I'm relying entirely on survey data here since I haven't personally visited. 46% of respondents included China in their challenging destinations list. However, the feedback seems to vary dramatically based on location. Travelers who ventured into rural areas reported completely different experiences compared to those who stuck to major cities. Rural communities apparently tend to be much more welcoming and excited to interact with foreign visitors, while urban areas can feel more impersonal and rushed. Number 5 might surprise some of you because it's the United States. Yes, America made the list, though many international visitors probably expected us to rank much higher. The interesting thing about American rudeness perceptions is that they vary wildly depending on where you visit. Tourist-friendly areas like major city centers, popular national parks, and established tourist corridors generally offer positive experiences. The problems arise when visitors venture into areas that aren't accustomed to international tourism or unfortunately end up in more dangerous neighborhoods. At number 4, we have Russia, and this is another case where cultural communication styles play a huge role in perceptions. Russians tend to be extremely direct and straightforward in their interactions, which can come across as cold or unwelcoming to visitors from cultures that value small talk and social pleasantries. However, traveler experiences seem split pretty evenly. Some report wonderful hospitality once you break through that initial reserve, while others find the directness off-putting throughout their entire visit. Number 3 is Germany, and this relates back to that conversation I mentioned at the beginning. Germans have a cultural reputation for being direct, efficient, and no-nonsense in their approach to communication. There's no sugarcoating, no beating around the bush, just straight facts and direct answers. While this efficiency can be refreshing in some contexts, it can also come across as cold or rude to visitors expecting warmer, more elaborate social interactions. It's important to understand that this directness isn't meant to be offensive. It's simply a different cultural approach to communication. Number 2 will probably make some people laugh because it's the United Kingdom. Here's what's fascinating about this result. British people were actually the largest group of respondents in the survey, meaning they were essentially voting themselves onto this list. There's something almost admirable about that level of self-awareness. British humor and communication styles can definitely come across as sharp or sarcastic to visitors who aren't familiar with the cultural context. What Brits consider playful banter might be interpreted as rudeness by international visitors. And finally, claiming the top spot with 71% of respondents including them in their top 3, we have France. Now, French rudeness has become such a widespread stereotype that it's practically a cultural meme at this point. Paris alone receives tens of millions of international visitors every year, which creates enormous pressure on local infrastructure and patience. The language barrier definitely plays a role here too. Many French people prefer to communicate in French, and visitors who don't make an effort to learn basic phrases might receive cooler receptions. Here's the thing though, and this is crucial to understand. These perceptions often say as much about cultural differences and expectations as they do about actual rudeness. What one culture considers normal directness, another might view as aggressive. What some see as maintaining personal space and privacy, others interpret as unfriendliness. Tourist fatigue is also a real phenomenon in heavily visited destinations, where locals can become frustrated with constant interruptions to their daily routines. The most important takeaway from this entire discussion is that preparation and cultural awareness can completely transform your travel experiences. Learning basic phrases in the local language, understanding cultural norms around personal space and communication styles, and approaching interactions with patience and respect can turn potentially negative encounters into positive ones. Every country on this list also has countless examples of incredible hospitality, kindness, and warmth from local people. These survey results represent just one perspective on complex cultural interactions. The best travelers are those who approach new destinations with open minds, cultural sensitivity, and realistic expectations about differences in communication styles. Remember, behind every stereotype is a complex reality shaped by history, economics, social pressures, and individual personalities. The goal isn't to avoid these destinations, but to visit them with better preparation and understanding. Some of the most rewarding travel experiences come from breaking through initial cultural barriers and discovering the genuine warmth that exists in every corner of the world. So, whether you're planning your next international adventure or just curious about global cultural dynamics, use this information as a starting point for deeper cultural research, not as definitive judgments about entire nations. Safe travels, everyone, and remember that every destination has something incredible to offer when approached with the right mindset and preparation.